Hi, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Thanks for joining us on TCM as we work our way through another lineup of movies featuring our monster of the month, Godzilla. Up next, the 14th and next to last film in the original Japanese Godzilla series from Toho Studios. From 1974, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. By this time, Ishiro Honda, the director of the original Godzilla from 1954, then 7 of the first 9 sequels, was long gone from the franchise. He'd been replaced by a new director, Jun Fukuda, who was largely responsible for turning the post-Honda era of Godzilla films into kids' movies. And that's really the only way to view them today, as children's films. By the 1970s, Japanese kids were into anime, bright colors, and especially robots. Not long after this picture begins, Godzilla rises from his resting place and begins wreaking havoc on mankind, which he hadn't done for some time in the movies. Godzilla had been a friend in the most recent Godzilla films, a short-armed protector of Earth against lethal alien monsters. So why did good Godzilla suddenly morph back into evil Godzilla? Because it's not really Godzilla at all, but Mechagodzilla, a giant robot monster. A second new monster is introduced in the film as well, King Caesar, who looks like a giant poodle. He doesn't shed, so he's a hypoallergenic monster. Good for sensitive kids. One final production note on the film: it was released in 1974, 20 years after Honda's original Godzilla. So an entire generation of Japanese adults had grown up watching these sequels. As a salute to all those dedicated fans, this installment brought in a handful of cast members who'd appeared in some of the earlier films, including Akihiko Hirata, who played the scientist in the original Godzilla. From 1974, released in the States in '77, also known as Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster. This is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla was released in 1974, 20 years after Ishiro Honda's original Godzilla hit Japanese movie theaters and stunned audiences. This was the 5th and final picture in the series, directed by Jun Fukuda, the filmmaker largely responsible for turning the franchise into a series of children's movies. To handle the next and final film in the original Japanese Godzilla series, Toho Studios brought back Honda, who shot the original Godzilla and many of the early sequels. But the movie they made became the least financially successful entry in the entire series. It's still worth seeing, as it's the film that wrapped up the franchise for Toho Studios, and it's coming up next here on Turner Classic Movies.